This is the sad story of Bastila Shan's tumultuous relationship with her mother, Helena, which is Shan's official side quest in Knights of the Old Republic.
I'll just go off and die peacefully, and you needn't bother with me anymore. That's obviously what's best.
Farewell, Mother. May the Force be with you.
May as well be with one of us.
When speaking to Bastila in your travels, it's during her second dialogue we can learn more about how she joined the Jedi Order, and more importantly, her relationship with her family.
Yes, I suppose I can understand your curiosity, given the bond that connects us. Very well. I'll tell you a bit about myself. I was found to be strong with the Force at a young age, as most Padawans are. As a girl, I was given to the Order to be trained. When I joined the Order, I left my family on Tal Ravan, as all Padawans do. My family is still there, the last that I heard. I've had little contact with them, as it is discouraged.
So the Jedi separates children from their families. And discouraged? Why?
Relationships with family members are fraught with powerful emotions. Such extremes are to be avoided. Anger and hate are the worst, but even love can lead to folly.
Don't you miss your family at all?
Like all who join the Order, I have learned to embrace the life I've chosen. I had to let go of my attachments to my family.
I'm sorry, that must have been very difficult.
It can be a hard lesson to learn. I was not on good terms with all of my family, but I do remember missing my father terribly for a long time.
You and your father were close?
Very close. I was only a little girl when I left my family, but I still remember him fondly. He was kind and gentle and doted on me. My mother, however, was different. I was not on good terms with my mother. I was only a little girl when I left, but I was old enough to resent her and the way she treated my father. She pushed my father into treasure hunting. I spent all my young life on ships, travelling from one false lead to the next. She whittled away my father's entire fortune, and I hated her for it. I think she was relieved to give me to the Jedi, but my father was heartbroken.
And you never tried to get in touch with your father again?
A child is too young to understand the sacrifices that must be made. It's better if they have no contact with their family once they're removed. Once I was older, I realized the wisdom of this policy. A Jedi must do what is needed, personal desires notwithstanding. Love can only obscure and confuse the matter.
But if a Jedi were to love, surely it wouldn't be all bad.
Even a Jedi cannot always control the feelings of the heart. We must do our best to guard against it, no matter what the cost. But some sacrifices are harder than others. I do not wish to discuss this anymore. I would rather return to our mission.
Your journal then updates saying, Bastila told you something of her life before the Jedi. She was very adamant in her support of the Jedi's policy of severing all familial relationships, as emotional attachments are inherently dangerous to a Jedi, and we soon learn why. After acquiring the first star map on Dantooine, then unlocking and completing the third dialogue, if Bastila is in your party, then Malare, a Twi'lek female, may approach and speak to you in one of the following locations: the Jedi Enclave on Dantooine, the Czerka Landing Port on Kashyyyk, or Tatooine's docking bay. And as we exit the Hawk, she will approach, saying,
"Excuse me. I know it's been a very long time, dear. But aren't you Bastila, Helena's little girl? Yes, it is you. I can see it in the eyes. My, how you've grown."
I'm Bastila, yes. I take it that you know my mother?
Oh, yes. I worked for your father on an expedition years ago. Your mother showed me hollows of you before you. Well, before you left. Such a pretty little girl you were.
Is there something I can do for you, miss? As you can see, we're in quite a hurry.
Bastila, don't be rude. But you're right, we don't have time for this.
Oh, I didn't mean to take up your time. I just wanted to ask you if your mother's condition has improved any since I saw her.
My mother's condition?
Oh, you don't know? Oh, dear. I just thought. I assumed that she had found you. When I talked to her last, she was desperate to find you.
I've not seen my mother since I joined the Order. Do you know what's happened? Did she say anything about my father?
I'm sorry, dear, but your mother is very ill. So she told me. She didn't say anything about your father, however. I didn't see him.
I see. Where did you meet her, do you remember?
She's here on Tatooine, dear. In the cantina. You really should go see her, considering her condition.
We can initially dismiss Malare's claim, saying, "We're too busy for this nonsense, Bastila."
I agree. Should we get the chance, however, I would like to speak to her. Perhaps it has something to do with my father.
Relenting, we can respond, I guess we should go see your mother, Bastila.
Part of me would rather not see her at all. But if she's really sick, well, we shall see.
It should be noted that if you do not meet Malare on Tatooine and either Kashyyyk or Dantooine, it opens a little bit more dialogue from Bastila and her true motives of seeing her mother, and Malare will instead say,
I saw her on Tatooine, dear. She said she'd been there for a while. Maybe she's still there?
Thank you for informing me. I really must be going now.
Wait, what's this all about?
It seems my mother's been looking for me. Strange. Should we get the opportunity, could we look for her on Tatooine?
I thought you said forget family. We're on an important mission here, Bastila.
Yes, of course. I would never jeopardize our mission. However, if we get the opportunity, I would like to visit Tatooine.
I thought you and your mother don't get along.
We never did. I am interested in hearing about my father, however.
Okay, certainly, if you think it's important.
It's important enough that my mother was attempting to seek me out. Perhaps it has something to do with my father.
Dismissing Bastila, we can say, forget it. We've got better things to do.
I agree. Should we get the chance, however, I would like to speak to her. Perhaps it has something to do with my father. Part of me would rather not see her at all. But if she's really sick, well, we shall see.
Your journal then updates saying, you encountered someone named Malare who told Bastila that her mother was looking for her. Bastila has asked that you look for her mother. Her name is Helena, and Malare reported that she saw her last in the colony of Anchorhead on Tatooine. And although Bastila has happily espoused the Jedi doctrine in regards to forgoing family and attachment, we can tell that she's deeply disturbed by this revelation that her mother has reappeared and is asking after her. Therefore, following the advice of the Twi'lek, we begin our search in the township of Anchorhead. And as we begin our investigation, Bastila begins to question the locals, starting with a Juros named Mana Demnot, who responds,
Have you seen a woman that may resemble me somewhat? She's my mother.
That human woman! I am outraged at her arrogance. You, do all of your species place yourself on such annoying pedestals?
I'm sorry, what are you talking about?
You should be sorry for sharing a species with that creature. I swear, Helena must be your word for pit rancor.
Helena? Bastila, isn't that your mother's name?
Her mother was supposed to be here somewhere. Ask if they've seen her.
Seen her? Human, you couldn't miss her if you tried. She strolled into the cantina like she owned the place.
Is she still there?
Probably. I don't think anyone else could top her attitude. So she won't be leaving. I won't be going back while she's there, though.
We should try to find her. I doubt she wants to be kept waiting.
You're actually looking for her. You humans, you're all out of your minds.
If, while conversing with the agitated Juros, we decide to take a leaf out of Bastila's mother's books, the conversation will take a turn and we can say, Step back, fool. I don't like your tone.
See? The same attitude. That don't even talk to me look she had. I swear, Helena must be your word for pit rancor.
Yeah, well, you seem pretty hateful toward other species.
What? No, but you don't understand. That woman, I think she didn't like us breathing the same air. You'd think she was queen of the planet. No offense, but your companion here looks especially like her.
That messenger said my mother is on Tatooine somewhere. We should ask about her.
If that woman is your mother, you have my sympathies. She's driving the regulars out of the cantina as we speak.
Just get out of my way.
Out of your way, out of her way. I've already left the cantina, and now I can't walk down the street. Arrogant humans, all of you.
I want to find out what my mother wanted. We need to find her.
And so, as Mana stalks off, we've learned the cause of the agitation can be found in the cantina in Anchorhead to the southeast. Nearing the cantina, we sense Bastila's unease and turn to speak to her briefly, inquiring,
How can I help?
Bastila, do you want to talk?
Sorry. I'm just thinking about my mother. It's strange to hear news after all this time. It's quite distracting. It's not that I look forward to seeing her. I just can't help but wonder what she wants. But perhaps we have better things to do.
Clearly shaken by the idea of seeing her estranged mother, we opt to check out the cantina solo to gauge whether this is actually a good idea. Once inside the establishment, we see the hallmarks of a generic Tatooinean cesspit. Bith play music atop a stage, accompanied by a sultry Twi'lek dancer behind the main bar. The patrons, an assortment of semi-intoxicated aliens and humans alike, look on. But it's in the far corner opposite the exit we spy what could only be Bastila's mother, a human female approximately in her 40s or 50s, sporting an unmistakable scowl across her countenance, which we were warned of by the Duros. Now, it should be noted that Bastila's mother not only doesn't really resemble her daughter, as the locals had erroneously claimed she was the spitting image of Bastila, but more curiously, she can be seen wearing a Jedi robe, and is basically a generic Jedi female. Now, I've heard parents living vicariously through their children, but for me, this was a no-go, so I used a mod to change her clothing. I wish a mod existed that could change her appearance so that she looked like an older, greying, more wrinkly Bastila, but beggars can't be choosers. Now, with Helena sporting more fitting attire, we approach her and she questions.
Yes? I'm sorry, do I know you?
No, I don't think so.
Good. I thought you were perhaps one of those collectors from the exchange. Since you're not, I doubt we have any business. Good day.
Sorry, could I ask you some questions?
I'm sure there are plenty of other strangers about for you to harass with questions. Why don't you select one of them?
Right, I have to go.
Thank you. I would rather be alone.
Surviving an initial tongue-lashing from Bastila's curt mother, we then follow up with a question that will gain her attention and say, "Are you Bastila's mother?"
You know my daughter? Where is she?
Nearby. I'm not sure she wants to meet with you.
Is that so? Has she said this herself? Tell her it is quite urgent that I speak with her at once. She has been most difficult to find.
You know what? You tell me what you want, and I'll relay it to her.
I most certainly will not. What I have to say is for Bastila alone. It is family business. That should be enough for her to come.
Okay, she said that you two don't get along.
I don't see why Bastila should be telling anything to a stranger about family business. Simply tell her to come, and that should be enough.
Okay, I'll tell her when I see her.
See that you do. If Bastila is here, I can't see why she didn't come herself.
Yeah, me either. It seems that the old apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Seeing that we're getting nowhere fast, we return with Bastila in our party, though initially it doesn't seem to help much.
Yes? I'm sorry, do I know you?
I'm here, Mother, but don't you recognize me?
What do you expect when I haven't so much as had a picture of you since you left? Do you know how long I've been trying to find you?
You knew as well as I communication would be impossible once I joined the Order. Now what is this about? Where is Father?
Then you haven't heard. I should have known.
Has something happened to him? Are you going to tell me or not?
Your father is dead, Bastila. That is part of the reason why I was looking for you.
Dead? What happened? What did you do to him?
Isn't this a lovely reunion? Already she's flinging insults at me. Tell me, you're one of her friends. Do you treat your mother this way?
Only if she deserved it.
I see Bastila seeks out friends that are as selfish as she is. This is how you treat a dying woman?
Hey, leave me out of this.
I'm sure Bastila feels the same way you do. She would prefer to be left out of it, at least until I'm as dead as her father is.
Well, my mother is dead, if you must know.
Is that so? Well, I'll be joining her soon enough, I suppose.
I was told you were sick. Are you actually dying, or is this merely melodrama for my benefit?
Such sweet things, you say. Perhaps I should tell you everything first before we start arguing again.
You could start by telling me what you got Father into that killed him.
I hadn't realized Jedi was so spiteful. You want me to tell you I brought your father here for an expedition, do you? You want to blame me for his death? You never accepted that your father loved going on his treasure hunts, leaving you alone with me. I was always to blame for everything. What else is new? So yes, fine. I brought your father here to look for Krayt dragon pearls. He took an expedition into the Tatooine desert and he died.
How can you be sure of that? Father is an experienced...
Do you think I would look for you if I wasn't sure? They were attacked by a crate dragon, and one of the guides fled the battle. He saw your father killed.
I see. So what do you want from me? Credits?
Oh, don't be insulting. I want you to use those senses of yours. I want you to find him. I want you to bring back his holocron.
Why? So you can sell it?
Is it too much to ask that I have something to remember your father by? Of course it is, isn't it? You couldn't be bothered.
We're very busy on a mission from the Jedi Council. I doubt I'll have the time. Ask my companions if you doubt me.
Why don't you get the holocron yourself, Miss, Helena?
As my daughter is quick to point out, I haven't the coin to hire another expedition, nor am I the adventurer my husband was.
Right. Don't you want to find your father's remains, Bastila?
What remains would there be? Great dragons are huge predators, easily able to devour a human, and the desert is a harsh environment. Finding my father's remains would be an even more impossible task than finding his holocron. An ignoble end to a fine man.
Bastila, what about your mother's sickness?
It doesn't seem to have anything to do with what she's asking. Are you actually sick, Mother?
What difference does it make to you? None, I'm sure. Just find your father's holocron, and you won't have to worry about me again either way.
That's the kind of response I would expect. Very well. We'll look for the holocron if we have time. I can't promise any more than that.
I believe your father was headed north towards the Sand People Enclave. I would check along that route, dear. Do please hurry.
A journal then updates saying Bastila agreed to consider her mother's request to locate her father's body and recover his holocron. It should be out in the Tatooine desert, likely near wherever crate dragons exist, though Bastila did not promise that she would give her father's holocron to her mother, even if she did find it. Heading outside, we can sense the tension between the two was palpable and decide to head back to Helena ourselves to see if we can glean any more information.
You're back, I see. And Bastila isn't even with you. I suppose she's too busy to even help her own mother, correct? Nothing more than I would expect from her after all this time. Go on. Leave me be. I will find the holocron myself if I have to.
Even after that somewhat unwarranted tongue-lashing, we can collect Bastila and speak to her mother one final time. However, she still rebukes us, saying,
Back already? Have you even looked for the holocron yet?
I don't have the holocron, if that's what you're asking.
Then what are you waiting for? Go find it.
Sensing Helena has dispensed all pleasantries for the day, we follow her lead into the Sand People territory and are promptly attacked by waves of their warriors.
You cannot win.
Here! It's among the trio of fallen foes' bodies do we pause and speak to Bastila as we search for her father's holocron, taking a moment to ask,
How can I help?
Do you want to talk?
About my mother? I'm unsure. I seem to find it difficult to remain objective when it comes to her. I find that disturbing.
We can somewhat callously decide to dismiss Bastila's revelation and say, well, I don't think we have time to search for anything.
You're probably right. There are more important things to do. Mother can wait.
However, this will simply end the dialogue. Otherwise, you don't think we should look for the holocron?
We've more important things to do. Still, my father is dead. Just because we find the holocron doesn't mean I have to give it to her.
Tell me, why do you think she wants it so badly?
Father recorded all his personal thoughts in that holocron, even when I knew him. Having it would be like having him with you. I don't see why she deserves it, however. She drove him to his death. I loved him, and I didn't even have a chance to say goodbye.
So, you'd keep it for yourself?
I don't know. Part of me would keep it just so she didn't get it. I don't like that part of me.
That sounds a bit selfish.
It does, doesn't it? I would have thought my Jedi training would have put me past this kind of pettiness. I really don't want to think about this. Please, let's just keep going.
You can ask about her mother's sickness instead, or do so by speaking to her again. Why didn't you ask about her sickness?
I have my doubts as to whether she's actually sick.
What? Why would she lie about it?
Mother used to lie about many things to get her way. She's a selfish woman who pushed my father into doing what she wished.
Well, she certainly seemed to upset you.
I told you that my mother and I never got along. Obviously, that has not changed. And now Father is dead. That leaves a hurt inside you just can't imagine. I haven't seen him in so long.
You sound bitter.
Yes, I thought I'd let go of that anger. All my training and it comes back so quickly. I don't want to talk about this anymore. Let's keep going.
The holocron is only accessible after making peace with the Sand People or killing their chieftain in their enclave.
You shall fall.
But the true horror of this quest is that once you approach the Krayt Dragon's cave, we witness its latest victim being devoured.
I'm tired of waiting, Comad. How big can this dragon of yours be? I'm going in.
Worse yet, after the gargantuan creature has been lured out of its cave and peppered with shrapnel from various mines, succumbing to its injuries. We cut open its thick hide with lightsabers to pilfer its precious pearl. No doubt, Bastila's father's remains are gruesomely partially digested and would spill out at her feet. Just a last bit of father-daughter bonding time. Once the dark deed is done, the holocron can be found in a tattered equipment pack at the back of the Krayt Dragon cave, where it no doubt first slithered out, the only worldly remnants of Bastila's father's existence in the barren wastes, save for when acquiring his holocron, a message left by her father reads, "This holocron has been cracked and worn by the sands and wind, but is still marginally operational. When activated, it shows the holographic image of a middle-aged human man and appears to have been used as a means to record his personal thoughts over many years." When you and Bastila return with holocron in hand to Helena, a final conversation occurs, and she says,
Back already? Have you even looked for the holocron yet?
I have the holocron, Mother. I'm just not sure I want to give it to you.
And why not? Would you deny me even that?
I've never denied you anything, Mother. You may think I don't remember what it was like before I left for the Order, but I do. You were the one who pushed Father to go on one treasure hunt after the other. You loved living in wealth. You think I don't remember the fights? You were eager to send me to the Jedi even though I didn't want to go. You took Father away from me, and now this holocron is all I have of him.
Fool girl. You have a strange way of remembering things. That wasn't...
No, I don't wish to argue with you anymore, Mother. It's time we parted ways now, for both our benefit.
If you agree with Bastila, she and her mother part ways on poor terms, and you can say, "You're right, let's go."
So that's the way it is it? All that Jedi training and you haven't learned a thing?
On the contrary, I've learned much. I've learned, for instance, when it is best to walk away from a situation that can only lead to conflict.
How can you learn anything when you hear only what you want to hear? Well, go on then. Keep the holocron. It was for you anyhow. I'll just go off and die peacefully. And you needn't bother with me anymore. That's obviously what's best.
Farewell, Mother. May the Force be with you.
May as well be with one of us.
Congruently, our journal then updates, reading, "The final meeting with Bastila's mother did not go well. Bastila and her mother argued, and Bastila ended up deciding to keep the holocron for herself. They parted on poor terms, unlikely to ever see each other again, and the weight of the encounter seems to press unhappily on Bastila's shoulders. Otherwise, you can question Bastila and reconcile the two, saying, maybe you should listen to what she has to say."
You don't know her. My mother is notoriously deceptive when she wants something. Why should she have the holocron?
Do you really need the holocron, Bastila?
Perhaps not. I can remember my father well enough. But I ask you, why should she have it?
Is it too difficult to believe that I am a dying woman who simply wishes to see her husband one last time?
I find it difficult to believe anything you say, Mother.
Well, it sounds like you've already made up your mind, but maybe one of you should be the first to give the other a break.
You're right. It shames me, but I find it difficult to let go of the past. I'm sorry, Mother.
I was hard on you, dear. I wasn't a very good mother to you. I know that. Your father loved you so. He wanted you to be just like him. He wanted to take you on his hunts, but I said they were too dangerous.
Treasure hunting is a dangerous occupation, yet you let your husband go on these expeditions.
I always tried to keep him from the dangerous ones, but he would have none of it. It was a reckless life we led. Always moving. I didn't want that for you.
So that's why you gave me to the Order?
What do your father and I have to show for all those years of hunting? Nothing. That was no life for anyone, especially not someone as gifted as you, your father. He spent all his last years trying to pay for my treatments. That's why he went for the pearls. I begged him not to, but...
Your treatments?
I'm dying, Bastila. I did not lie about that. It's been a long time in the coming, and there's really nothing that can be done anymore. I told your father to let me go, but you know how he was. Stubborn, like you.
I'm so sorry, Mother. I don't know what to say.
Keep the holocron, Bastila. It would do me good to know you have it. This talking to you, this is what I really needed before I
know. Thank you. I'm glad we talked too.
Well now, you said you had important business, and you were never one to mince words. You there. You take care of my daughter, you hear me?
I'll do my best.
That's good. I'll feel a lot better knowing there's someone to watch her.
Bastila can take care of herself.
So could her father. That doesn't mean she doesn't need help now and again.
Right. As if she'd let me.
You make her let you. She's too much like her father in that respect.
I'm not her keeper.
Where are you going to go?
It doesn't matter, dear. Don't you worry about me.
Here, take these 500 credits. It's all I have. Go to Coruscant and find a doctor. I'll meet you there after what I have to do.
But I already told you there's nothing that can...
Please take it. I want to see you again, when we can talk.
All right, I will. You do what you have to, Bastila. You go make your father and I proud.
I'll try. Farewell, Mother.
A journal then updates saying, Bastila and her mother have parted on good terms. Her mother insisted Bastila keep the holocron, and while she is indeed dying from an illness, Bastila promised to try and help her once the mission is done. While Bastila is sad that her father is dead, she is happy that her relationship with her mother looks hopeful. Either way, Bastila will keep her father's holocron, and if you speak to Bastila after parting with her mother, her response will vary based on their current relationship.
How can I help?
If Bastila and her mother parted on poor terms, we say, so, you kept the holocron.
Yes, but I don't feel any better. After all my training, I would have thought myself above such anger. For it to come so easily disturbs me greatly. I don't need a holocron to remember my father. And I will never see Mother again. Have I learned nothing? No, I don't want to talk about this. Thank you, but I must think about what I have done.
If instead we depart on a lighter note and they worked at repairing their relationship, we then ask, so do you feel better now?
Yes, that brought me a lot of peace. More than I thought it would have. Thank you for urging me toward it. After all my training, I would have thought it would have been easier. Apparently, I still have much to learn.
And thus concludes Bastila's quest with her mother, but gives us valuable insight into Bastila's own past and temperament, and also her growth that happens later in the game. If you want to see more companion videos from KOTOR on the channel, please let me know who you'd like to see next. Also, make sure to like and subscribe for more Dark Lore. And, I should say, thanks for watching the 500th video on the channel. It's been an absolute joy, so thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you, always.